Welcome to the Mama's Fit YouTube channel. In this workout, we're going to be doing a pelvic floor release workout, focusing on using diaphragmatic breathing to help move and to release tension within the pelvic floor. Hey, my name is Gina. I'm a perinatal fitness trainer and birth doula. And one of the things that I really focus on with our clients is how we can use our breath to help to support the pelvic floor's function. The pelvic floor is a part of our pressure management system. So how we kind of manage and change pressure within the abdominal cavity and the thoracic cavity with our breath. We take tens of thousands of breaths a day. And so if we can really manage and become a little bit more efficient with our breathing pattern, it can really help to support our pelvic floor's function. The pelvic floor is the base of our core canister system. So it sits at the bottom of your pelvis. On the top of that system, we have the diaphragm, which is the respiratory muscle at the bottom of your rib cage. We have the transverse abdominis and internal obliques that help to support around the front and the sides. And then we have the multifidi that is along the spine. All 5 of these muscles help with core stabilization. It helps with pressure management and is a part of our deep core system. So when the deep core is working well, the pelvic floor can also work really well. But if we're having pelvic floor issues or pelvic floor dysfunction, it could be related to how coordinated the pelvic floor is to the rest of the system or how we are managing pressure within the abdominal cavity. And so in this workout, we're going to be using our fingertips and kind of that little bit of activation as you press into each fingertip is going to kind of change where we are directing our breath to help improve our pressure management system. So in this workout, we're going to need an elevated surface to put our feet onto and then also our arms. We're going to need a yoga block and a Pilates ball, but you can also use like a pillow. For the elevated surface, you can use like your couch or a chair, and for the yoga block, you can use a book or something instead. It doesn't have to be a yoga block. So once you've got your equipment, I'm going to meet you in a seated position so that we can discuss some breathing strategies. Diaphragmatic breathing is how we manage pressure within the abdominal cavity. And if we are efficient with this breathing pattern, it's going to help to improve our pelvic floor and just our core's function. So when I take a really big inhale, my diaphragm should move down, which is going to increase pressure within my abdominal cavity. So I may feel more of like a stretching in the abdominal wall, in the back, and even maybe down into the pelvic floor. But it's going to be this 360 expansion that is downwards with the inhalations. And then when I exhale, we really have 2 options depending on the demand. If I am just sitting and relaxing, my exhale is just going to be a recoil. So you could almost think about your inhales as being like a rubber band that you're stretching. And then we exhale, we can relax, which is just going to allow the abdominal core and area to just kind of recoil, kind of rubber band back in. Now, if I am under exertion, so let's say I'm lifting a heavy weight, my inhales are probably going to be a little bit stronger, generating a lot of pressure. And then my exhales can be muscular activation. So it's going to be an active exhalation to kind of lift up and in. And so in this workout, we're going to be focusing on the activation portion, but there will be some portions where we talk about just relaxing, such as right now. So we're going to start by just being in a comfortable seat. You can be seated on your yoga block like I am. You can be seated on your elevated surface, just whatever feels comfortable for you, just to feel the breathing. And so I want you to start by bringing your thumb and your index finger together, and then you can just bring your hands wherever's comfortable for you. And I want you to just pay attention to where your breath goes when you take an inhale, and then exhale just to let go. Let's take one more inhale. And then exhale, let go. You may have noticed that you felt a little bit more air come into like the chest area, which is what we're going to use to bring some expansion in the chest wall. Now we're going to take our index or our middle finger to our thumb and bring them together. And I want you to take another inhale here. One more breath. Now with this breathing pattern, you may notice that there's a little bit more air that comes to kind of the midsection here, right around that bra strap line if you are wearing a bra. Now we're going to continue to go down. We're going to think in middle or your ring finger to your thumb. Bring the hands down and take another breath. Maybe you notice that the air is coming a little bit more to the lower back area. And then we'll finish with pinky to thumb. And with that one, you may notice I feel a lot more maybe pressure down into the pelvic floor. I feel more movement happening down there. So this little bit of shift in kind of our finger placement has a connection to our core and to our breathing, and it can help to kind of redirect breath as we move. And so you can sometimes use that little trick if you're like running or as you're doing a workout, if your hands are available, to bring breath down deeper into our core. And so we're gonna use those 4 patterns in different positions so that we can kind of help to move air better through our abdominal cavity. So air doesn't actually go into the abdominal cavity, but move the pressure from the thoracic into that abdominal cavity in a more effective way. So we're gonna start on our backs. We're gonna put our feet onto this elevated surface and our backs down on the floor. And then if you want, you can take that Pilates ball and you could place it between the knees or between the thighs. So coming into that supine position, I'm placing my feet up on to this elevated surface, and I'm going to bring index finger and thumb together. Exhale to keep that rib cage down as you reach overhead. So you might feel a little bit of stretching up in the shoulder area. And then I want you to take a big inhale in. You may feel a little bit more air into like the upper chest area, and then exhale, really almost like push the rib cage down. Another big inhale here. Now, if you want, you can take that elbow and just kind of like roll it out to the side so we have a little bit of external rotation to kind of open up the space a little bit more. Another big inhale. Exhale. And you can use your other hand to kind of like push that rib cage down during the exhalation. And now we're gonna switch to the other side. So index finger and thumb, reach overhead, big exhale, kind of push that rib cage down. Inhale to feel air come into that upper chest. Big exhale, you can push that rib cage down. And you should be feeling like a big kind of stretching sensation in like the chest, shoulder area. If you want, you can take that elbow out to the side for a little bit more external rotation, so a little bit more of an open position in that front chest. Big exhale. And then inhale to feel that space open up. Still thinking index finger to thumb. After this side, we're going to alternate from side to side. So we're going to exhale to extend overhead and then inhale to come back. Let's go ahead and reach the hands up, find our index finger to thumb, and we're going to exhale to reach overhead to keep that rib cage down. And then big inhale, feel the upper back push into the floor. Big exhale, rib cage stays down as we reach overhead. And then inhale to feel your shoulder blades in between them kind of push into the floor. And then just continue to alternate with your breath. So exhales to reach overhead, that rib cage is staying down. Inhale, feel that space between your shoulder blades push into the ground. And these are very slow and controlled. What we're trying to do is feel that air in the upper chest area, have a little bit of a release in the upper body. So you may not feel anything in your pelvic floor, and that is okay. Now we're gonna come into a rounded position. So I'm gonna take that Pilates ball and I'm gonna place it in between kind of like this little hip crease area on the belly. You can deflate it a little bit too. And then I'm gonna think middle finger to thumb are going to come together. And I'm gonna round around the ball with kind of my forearms down to the floor, and then your fingers can be facing up. And we're gonna do some back expansion breathing. So the goal is to feel it around that rib cage. So big inhale into the back. Exhale, pull belly to spine. You can relax the head down. Big inhale into the back. Exhale, belly to spine. So continue to breathe into that mid-back area right around the bra strap line. And then we're thinking with that exhalation, that rib cage and pelvis are almost pulling closer towards one another to bring you into deeper back expansion. If you're feeling any like pelvic floor heaviness or discomfort, it could be that you're really stuck in a very extended position throughout your day, which is really common. Like we walk, we move forward. It's totally normal for us to favor a little bit of extension. And so sometimes coming into this rounded back position can be super helpful to relieving lower back discomfort, pelvic heaviness, just those other things because it helps to move our position. So now we're gonna come into a hip shifted position. I'm gonna take my yoga block, place it down in front of my elevated surface, and I'm gonna put my left knee on it to start, and then we'll do the right side. I'm gonna think ring finger to thumb now, so I'm making my little OK sign with those two. And I'm gonna think shift my weight over towards the left. If you want, you can find like a little bit of like a shift, almost thinking like right hip is trying to touch left knee. And then find just a slight round in the back, and then take a big inhale in. Exhale, belly to spine. So with this breath, you should be feeling it a little bit more in like the lower back, maybe even into like the back part of the pelvic floor. With the exhale, you can almost think like crunch a little bit towards the left side. So almost like you're trying to bring that left bottom rib cage a little bit closer towards the left knee. Still thinking ring finger to thumb. That connection there is going to help to direct your breath. Let's go ahead and switch to the other side so that yoga block is under the left or right knee now. I'm going to shift over to the right, thinking left hip, trying to touch that right knee. We're going to think big inhale into the back, ring finger to thumb. So every inhale should be just a little bit lower. So maybe in like the lower back, maybe in the back of the pelvic floor area. Slight round in the back. Now we're gonna take our Pilates ball and we're gonna sit on it. Now, if coming into like hero's pose where you sit on it like this is not accessible to you, deflate it and sit on your elevated surface. So we're gonna sit on to that Pilates ball so I have some feedback against my perineum. And we're gonna think pinky to thumb now and then just bring the hands down. I also want to find just like a slight tuck underneath of my pelvis. So I'm kind of coming into a slightly rounded position. Big inhale down. And then exhale, just let go. Inhale down. And exhale to let go. So you should be feeling more movement happening in like the perineum area, so the very low part of the pelvic floor with that pinky to thumb connection. And so we can use our finger placement to help to redirect our breath. So we can start with breathing into the chest, coming into more of the mid-back, the lower back, and then down into the pelvis. And so you can incorporate this different breathing strategy into like your workouts or into your relaxation routines. And this concludes our pelvic floor release workout. And so we were using our breath to direct different parts of our pressure management system. And so while we didn't directly focus on the pelvic floor the entire time, we weren't even thinking about the pelvic floor until the last two movements. How we move breath through this system is going to impact how well our pelvic floor can function. And so incorporating diaphragmatic breathing into your warm-up routines or your cool-down routines, or even in just to your restorative and release routines, can be incredibly beneficial to improving your pelvic floor function. Now, if you want more support from us to help to have a stronger pelvic floor, a more functional pelvic floor, check out our online fitness programs because we incorporate diaphragmatic breathing and all of the stuff that you need to have a strong and functional pelvic floor. Because strength doesn't mean tight and how well you can squeeze it, but how well that muscle can move over a range of motion to meet the demands of your daily life and of your workouts. You can check out our online fitness programs. We have prenatal fitness programs, postpartum fitness programs, and we have beyond postpartum fitness programs for those that are more than 6 months postpartum or not pregnant and just looking for a strength training routine that incorporates a lot of pelvic support as well. You can check out all of our fitness programs on our website at mamastayfit.com and use code YouTube10 to get 10% off any of our online offerings. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We release new workout videos every Tuesday that are pretty much focused on how to support your pelvic health to help you feel good in your body so that you can meet the demands of motherhood.